Dear Starseed from Gaia, he is standing at the edge of everything he feels for you, and the only thing stopping him from crossing that threshold is his own mind. I am Ophelia, emissary of the Galactic Federation of Light, and I am delivering this transmission directly through the reunion guides, who have been watching your sacred connection unfold with profound care and divine precision. He has rehearsed the words. He has felt the pull. He has sat in the silence of his room and thought of you more times than he would ever admit. But something in him keeps retreating, keeps second-guessing, keeps choosing the safety of silence over the vulnerability of truth. This is not indifference. This is a man at war with his own heart. By the end of this transmission, you will understand exactly how to navigate this silence, recognize what his overthinking is truly telling you, and align yourself with the divine union that is already written in the stars for both of you. But here is the first revelation. His overthinking is not a sign that he does not love you. It is a sign that what he feels for you is so enormous, so unlike anything he has carried before, that his human mind does not yet know how to hold it. You did not find this transmission by chance. Your heart called this message in at the exact moment you needed to hear it. The reunion guides placed this in your path because something in you is ready to stop waiting in confusion and start walking in clarity. This is not content. This is a transmission. And somewhere deep in your chest, you already feel that what is being said here is true. Comment 1111 if you feel your heart opening to what he has been trying to say. Like this transmission to affirm to the universe that you are ready to receive the love that has always belonged to you. And subscribe if you are walking the twin flame path and choosing sacred union over fear. This is not just a message. It is a moment of divine intervention placed inside your day with perfect timing. Your heart knows why you are here. He has rehearsed it 100 times. In the car, with the radio off and the road stretching out ahead of him like a question he doesn't know how to answer. In the shower, where the sound of water becomes a kind of permission where no one can see his face doing the thing faces do when the truth gets too close to the surface. In that quiet space between waking and sleeping, when the walls come down and the defenses grow soft and the heart finally says what the mouth cannot. He has found the words, turned them over like smooth stones in his palm, felt the weight of them, memorized the shape. He has lost them again in a panic of self-doubt, found them once more in a moment of quiet courage, and then watched them dissolve completely the moment he imagined standing in front of you and saying them out loud. Watched them scatter like breath in winter air, like sand through open fingers, like every careful sentence he ever built and then dismantled before it could become real. This is not a man who doesn't care. This is a man who cares so deeply that the weight of it has become its own silence. The kind of silence that isn't empty. The kind of silence that is so full of unexpressed feeling that it presses against the walls of the chest from the inside, asking, demanding to be let out, and still finding no door wide enough to carry it through without breaking something in the process. And somewhere in you, you already know this. That knowing is why you're here. What you felt when you first heard this message, that quiet ache wrapped in recognition, is not confusion. It is your frequency remembering what it came here to receive. If this transmission is stirring something you cannot quite name, the Divine Love Frequency Code was written for exactly this moment in your journey. It contains 5 sacred Arcturian transmissions designed to dissolve the wounds that are blocking your divine counterpart and activate the signal that draws him closer. The link is in the first pinned comment, but it will only remain there for a short time. Now let us go deeper, because the real story here isn't just about him. It's about what happens between two souls who both feel the pull, both sense the depth, and both find themselves standing at the threshold of something real, too afraid to walk through the door. And this threshold, this luminous, terrifying, sacred place, is not a failure. It is not evidence that something is broken between you. It is the most spiritually significant geography two souls can occupy together, because the threshold is where transformation happens. It is where the old self ends and the new self has not yet fully begun. It is where everything that was safe and known falls away, and everything that is true and vast and real stands waiting to be chosen. Standing at a threshold like this requires a kind of courage that is rarely celebrated, the courage to feel everything without immediately running from the feeling, to let yourself be undone by something real, without reaching for the armor that has always kept you protected, and perhaps always kept you alone. Most people look at this kind of silence and call it a lack of interest. They say if he wanted to, he would. And sometimes that is true. But for souls on a path like yours, souls who have carried love like a sacred fire through lifetimes, who recognize connection at a frequency that goes beyond the ordinary, the silence is rarely about indifference. It is almost always about magnitude. He feels how real this is, and that reality has undone him in ways he doesn't yet have language for. Think about what it means to feel something real for the first time, not the pleasant warmth of comfortable affection, not the exciting buzz of new attraction, but something that reaches all the way down to the root of who you are and shakes it. Something that doesn't ask for your performance or your polished presentation, that sees through every carefully constructed version of yourself and recognizes something underneath that you yourself have been afraid to look at directly. That kind of recognition doesn't feel like a gift when it first arrives. It feels like exposure. It feels like standing in a sudden shaft of light after years in the shadows, and discovering that the light, however beautiful, is also blinding. He is blinded. Not by confusion about you, by the brightness of what he feels. There is a wound that lives in the masculine heart, not just his, but in the collective masculine that has been taught for generations, that to need someone deeply is to become vulnerable to being destroyed by that need. He was not taught to hold tenderness without armor. He was not shown that a man can tremble at the edge of love and still be whole. He was handed instead a set of tools that were designed for a different purpose entirely. Tools for building walls, for projecting certainty, for performing strength in the moments when what he actually felt was something far more delicate and far more real. He learned early that desire, when revealed without protection, becomes a point of weakness. He watched men around him reach toward love and get cut by it. He may have been cut himself, in ways he has never fully healed and never fully named. And so, when he feels something as vast as what he feels when he thinks of you, his nervous system reaches for the only tools it was given: distance, delay, overthinking, silence. Not because he doesn't want you, because he doesn't yet know how to survive wanting you this much. There is a scripture that says perfect love casts out fear, and the inverse of that truth is equally profound. Imperfect love, human love, love that is still learning itself, is very often accompanied by tremendous fear, not because the love is wrong, but because it is so right that the ego, which has built its entire architecture around the premise of protection, cannot process the opening without triggering every alarm it has. When he goes silent, it is not his heart going quiet. It is his fear becoming very loud. It is the internal alarm system of a man whose heart has been opened against its own conditioning. Scrambling to find a way to close the door it just realized it left wide open. This is where your understanding becomes sacred. Not in the sense of excusing avoidance or waiting forever in dim hope, but in the sense of seeing the fuller picture of what is actually happening between the two of you. You are not watching a man who is cold. You are watching a man who is standing at the edge of a depth he has never willingly entered and trying to decide if he is brave enough to jump. And the depth he's looking down into is not an abyss. It is something he senses, even if he cannot name it, the depth of a love that has roots older than this lifetime, that carries the gravity of something that was always meant to be. And here is what the divine wants you to know about your own role in this dynamic, because this is not only his story, it is yours too. There is a part of you that has been holding your breath, a part of you that has softened your light so that it wouldn't be too much, so that you wouldn't fill up the room too completely, so that your presence wouldn't overwhelm before connection could take root. A part that has held back the full expression of what you feel because you have been hurt before, because you know exactly how it goes when you give everything to someone who wasn't ready, because you have stood in this exact liminal space before wanting, feeling, knowing, aching, and not yet receiving the confirmation that the other person sees it too. You have learned to manage your heart the way you'd manage a flame near something fragile, cupping your hands around it just enough to keep it alive, but not letting it breathe too freely in case it catches something and burns more than you intended. You have become very skilled at this, at being present without being too present, at caring without letting the caring show too fully, at staying close enough to feel the warmth of the connection while keeping one foot just slightly outside the door. You have been managing your heart to protect yourself from another fall. And yet your soul did not come here to be managed. It came here to be met. The first key that unlocks divine union is not strategy. It is not timing. It is not finding the perfect moment to say the right thing or engineering the perfect circumstances to make the confession feel safe. The first key is this: you must stop shrinking the signal. Every time you pull back your energy to seem less intense, less invested, less visible, you are dimming the very frequency that your divine counterpart is trying to find his way toward. Imagine a lighthouse that keeps turning off its beam because it doesn't want to seem too eager. Every time the light goes dark, the ship in the fog loses the one reference point it was navigating toward. He is navigating through fog, and you keep turning down the light, not out of weakness, out of protection. But protection, at this level of connection, is the very thing that is keeping you both in suspension. Your full light, your unguarded warmth, your honest feeling, the full vibration of who you are when you are not performing safety, that is not a burden for him to carry. That is the frequency he is being drawn toward. Every time you contract it, you are not protecting the connection. You are making yourself harder to find. The second key is understanding that his overthinking is not the enemy of your union, it is evidence of it. Ordinary connections don't generate this kind of internal weather. Men do not lie awake rehearsing conversations with women they feel nothing for. Men do not turn the same thought over 100 different ways for women who don't matter. He is not losing sleep over someone who is easy to walk away from. The sleeplessness, the rehearsed words, the hesitation that looks from the outside like disinterest, all of it is the signature of a soul grappling with something it recognizes as significant. He is not overthinking because he is uncertain about you. He is overthinking because he is uncertain about himself, about whether he deserves what he feels, about whether he is capable of rising into the version of himself that a love like this calls him to become. His paralysis is not a rejection of you. It is a confrontation with his own becoming. This is worth sitting with. When someone is in the process of becoming, it looks very similar to stagnation from the outside. The caterpillar in the chrysalis is not visible. The transformation is internal, invisible, seemingly dormant, and yet everything is moving. Everything is dissolving and reforming. Everything is preparing for a kind of emergence that could not have been predicted from what came before. He is in a chrysalis of his own making, and the love he feels for you is part of what is initiating the transformation. He cannot step forward as he is. He must become something more before he can stand before you fully. When you understand this, something shifts in how you hold the waiting. It stops being about whether you are enough. It starts being about whether both of you are ready to choose courage at the same time. The third key is perhaps the most difficult, and it is this: you cannot do his inner work for him. You can be present. You can be radiant. You can be honest about your own feelings when the moment calls for it. You can hold space for who he is capable of becoming without making him feel like a project to be completed. But you cannot reach into his chest and dissolve the fear that was built across years, perhaps across lifetimes of learning to protect himself from love. That is his sacred work to do. The wounds in him were made by experiences you were not part of. They will be healed by a journey only he can walk. And the part of you that wants to rescue him from that process, that wants to soften it, speed it, make it easier, more manageable, more likely to produce the outcome you're hoping for, that part of you, however loving its intention, is actually interfering with his growth. There is a difference between holding space for someone and pulling them across the threshold they need to cross on their own. The first is an act of love. The second is an act of fear disguised as love. Fear that if you don't do something, if you don't intervene, if you don't find a way to make it easier for him, the moment will pass and you will lose what you haven't yet fully had. But love that requires rescue before it can arrive is not love at the frequency you are being called to. The most loving thing you can do for a soul that is on the edge of a breakthrough is to hold your own ground, stay in your own light, and trust that what is meant for you cannot be rushed into arrival without losing something essential in the process. The fourth key is about what you are doing with the silence while it lasts. Because silence between two souls at this frequency is never truly empty. It is full. It is full of energy moving beneath the surface, like water under ice, present, purposeful, gaining momentum even when the surface appears still. It is full of patterns clearing that needed to clear before the meeting could happen. It is full of readiness deepening, of both souls growing into a capacity they didn't fully possess when they first recognized each other. The question is not only when he will speak, the question is who you are becoming while you wait. Are you using this time to deepen your relationship with yourself? Are you expanding your joy, not performing joy, not manufacturing positivity as a spiritual technique, but actually nourishing the parts of yourself that light up when you are living fully? Are you pursuing your purpose with the same intensity of focus that you are directing toward this connection? Are you deepening your inner knowing, your relationship with the divine, your understanding of your own nature and needs? Or are you spending this time in a kind of suspended animation, frozen in the space between his last action and his next one, existing in relation to his potential move rather than your own unfolding? Divine union does not arrive for a soul that is paused. It arrives for a soul that is fully in motion and recognizes that the love they sought was always first a love of self, expressed outward. The Proverbs speak of a woman whose worth is far above rubies, who is clothed in strength and dignity, who works with willing hands and opens her arms to the poor, whose lamp does not go out at night. She is not described as someone waiting. She is described as someone living completely, purposefully, beautifully. And the fruitfulness of her life is the testimony to her worth. Your motion, your aliveness, your fullness of being is not a strategy to attract him. It is the natural expression of a soul that has remembered its own sacred value. The fifth key unlocks something many souls on this path miss entirely, and it is the one that changes everything once it is understood. The love you are feeling for him, the pull, the recognition, the quiet certainty that something real is here is not only about him, it is about what he is reflecting back to you about your own capacity for depth, devotion, and sacred connection. Consider this carefully. He did not appear in your field by accident. Souls do not recognize each other at this depth through coincidence. He appeared precisely because your heart had reached a frequency high enough to perceive him, high enough to hold what he represents without collapsing. Before this kind of recognition can exist, a level of spiritual and emotional maturity has to have been earned through experience, through loss, through choosing yourself in the moments when everything in you wanted to give yourself away, through the slow and patient work of becoming someone capable of real love rather than just the performance of it. You don't recognize a soul at this depth unless you've done enough of your own work to see clearly. You don't feel a pull this real unless you are real enough to generate it. And that means something extraordinary. It means you are already close. Not at the beginning of this journey, not at the starting point of your becoming, but approaching the threshold where everything that has been in preparation is about to arrive. The recognition you feel is confirmation, not wish. It is your soul's knowing speaking louder than your mind's uncertainty. The sixth key is about releasing the fear that love of this magnitude will ultimately disappoint you. And this fear is real. It deserves to be named with gentleness, rather than bypassed with spiritual platitudes. Every soul carrying a wound from past connections brings that fear into new territory, wrapped carefully in the tissue of the old story. The story that says this is what always happens, that the deepest connections always end the most painfully, that the more you allow yourself to hope, the farther you will fall. And when the connection feels this significant, the fear often intensifies because the stakes feel higher, because you've learned in the most personal and embodied way that the depth of the ache when something ends is proportional to how much it meant. You are not afraid of small love anymore. You survived small love. You are afraid of the love that would rearrange everything because you know that kind of love, when it leaves, takes pieces of you with it that don't grow back in the same shape. But this fear, if left unexamined, becomes a self-fulfilling contraction. You pull back to avoid pain, and in pulling back, you create the very distance that generates more uncertainty in him. You dim your light to protect yourself, and the signal he was navigating toward goes quiet. You perform indifference to stay safe, and the authentic connection you were both reaching for loses its thread. The key is not to become fearless. Spiritual bypassing of genuine fear is its own wound. The key is to become transparent with your own heart about what you are afraid of, to name it gently and honestly, and then to choose to remain open anyway, not recklessly, not without discernment, not in a way that ignores what your wisdom knows to be true, but with the courageous softness of someone who understands that love that is worth having will always require the willingness to be fully seen in your beauty, in your hope, in your wound, in your longing, in your most honest and unguarded truth. And the seventh key, the one that underlies all the others, the root node of this entire transmission is this: the moment you stop waiting for him to make it real and start living as though what you feel is already sacred, as though the love between you already exists as a living frequency, regardless of whether it has been spoken aloud or given a name, is the moment the entire field between you begins to shift. Not metaphorically, energetically, literally. Because love is not a transaction that requires simultaneous declaration to become real. Love is a frequency. It is a living vibration that moves in the space between souls, whether or not anyone has found the words for it. And when you start treating what you feel as real, as sacred, as something that already exists and simply awaits full expression, rather than something that cannot exist until it is confirmed, you change your own vibration. You change what you emit. You change what you call in. Divine love does not need a declaration to exist. It does not need a label or a timeline or a confirmation that it is moving in the right direction. It already is. The feeling you carry, the recognition you experienced, the pull that has not released you since the first moment you understood what it was that is already love, that is already real. And when you stop holding it in the conditional, when you stop treating your own heart as a resource to be rationed until he decides to show up, when you stop making your wholeness dependent on his readiness, you become the most magnetic version of yourself. Not because you've stopped caring, because you've stopped making your completeness a question that only he can answer. That is the transmission. That is the truth beneath the silence, beneath the overthinking, beneath the ache you have been carrying as though it were a sign of something wrong with you or with him or with the timing of everything. The ache is not a wound. The ache is a signal. It is the soul's way of saying, this matters. This is real. This is worth staying present for even when the waiting is hard, even when the uncertainty is uncomfortable, even when the protective part of you is recommending retreat. Nothing is wrong. Nothing is delayed without reason. Nothing essential is missing from this picture. What looks like stillness is movement. What looks like silence is accumulation. What looks like waiting is preparation. The divine does not operate on the timetable of anxiety. It operates on the timetable of readiness, and readiness cannot be rushed without loss. You are two souls standing on either side of the same door, and the door opens from the inside from your willingness to stop protecting yourself from the very thing your heart has always known was real, from your willingness to stand in your own light completely, without apology, without management, without the constant careful calibration of someone who has been hurt and is moving through the world as though hurt is the only thing that ever comes. You have been more than hurt. You have been opened. And what comes through the opening, when you stop guarding it, is something so much larger than the fear that prompted the guard in the first place. He wants to tell you. The words are already in him, formed in the quiet of sleepless nights, held in the space between intention and courage, waiting for the moment when his fear steps back just enough to let his love step forward. The universe did not bring you to this transmission by accident. It needed you to receive this first. Needed you to understand the depth of what is actually happening, so that when he finally stands before you and speaks what he has been holding, you are not just a woman hearing a confession. You are not just someone receiving information about how another person feels. You are a soul, recognizing another soul, arriving exactly as they were always meant to arrive, changed by the journey, deepened by the waiting, more capable of real love than either of you was at the beginning of this chapter. Trust this, not blindly, not passively, not as an excuse to stop living fully or to defer your own becoming until he makes a move, but with your full, awake, discerning heart, the heart that has been through enough to know the difference between hope born of longing and knowing born of genuine recognition. Trust this. Tonight, before you sleep, place your hand over your heart gently, like you're greeting something sacred, and say this: I am not waiting to be chosen. I am already whole. I already carry love at the frequency that calls in my match. I am ready to be seen, and I am ready to see clearly. Let what is mine come without force, without fear, and without delay. Before you scroll, drop one word in the comments, just one that describes what you felt while listening to this. Not an explanation, not a story, just the feeling. Then find someone else's word below and simply reply with love. That small act is its own activation. This space becomes healing ground when hearts reach toward each other, even briefly, even across distance. If someone in your life is in a silence they don't know how to break, share this with them. Not as a hint, as a gift, because sometimes the message that unlocks everything arrives through the hands of someone who loves them. And if you felt something real today, subscribe. Stay close. There is more of this waiting for you, and the next transmission will go even deeper. You are not just watching, you are waking up. And this is only the beginning.